everyone. Appreciate the media for attending this very important press conference. My name is Diop Olugbala, and I'm currently running for mayor of the city of Philadelphia. I'm here to formally announce my candidacy for the 2011 mayoral election of the city of Philadelphia. After long, heated discussion with some of my closest, most trusted political associates, it has been determined that it will be in the best interest of the masses of people in Philadelphia, particularly the poor and oppressed Black and Latino communities, if I were to run for mayor of Philadelphia on a platform that calls for genuine community control for the people, particularly the historically oppressed Black community of this city. We have concluded that Mayor incumbent Michael Nutter and the Democratic Party he represents have absolutely no ability nor interest in representing the interests of the masses of working and poor people in this city. In fact, both the Democratic and Republican parties are political parties who speak only to the interests of the ruling elite of this city. The quality of life continues to deteriorate for the masses, while the rich and wealthy ruling elite live in even greater luxury. A recent report published in the Philadelphia Daily News states that more than 263,000 white people have left the city in the past 20 years. Meanwhile, the Black population, which now comprises 42% of the city's population, larger than any other group, has sunk into deeper poverty than ever before. At the same time, the white income has increased. In the last decade, average income in white households in Philadelphia rose 4% to $65,100. But Black household income fell 10% to $40,200. Overall, more than 40% of the Black population in Philadelphia lives below the poverty line. In some areas like North Philly, 75% live in poverty. This lifestyle of growing poverty and misery for Black and Latino workers and growing wealth for the white community and the rich is only made possible through the public policies implemented by the local government with the complicity of both the Democratic and Republican parties. Such policies include the massive budget cuts to essential services such as the public school system, whose funding will decrease by $377 million or 12% next year. The closure of libraries, swimming pools, and various grassroots non-profit organizations who do positive work in the community are all byproducts of this economic policy. Up until now, Nutter and his administration have justified these backwards economic policies by saying they are necessary to resolve the city's budget crisis, which is reported to be slightly over $2 billion. Even if this were true, Nutter's unwillingness to make the corporations, the major corporations of the city, such as the Eagles, the Phillies, Comcast, and Verizon, bear the brunt of the crisis is telling of who he truly represents. Furthermore, in his 2009 proposal to the State House of Representatives and Senate calling for intervention on the city's fiscal crisis, Nutter put forth the following options and resolutions: either fire 5,000 city workers or charge the people 10% more in sales tax. In a city that is overwhelmingly Black and Latino, Nutter's proposal was essentially a strategy to resolve the city's economic crisis at the expense of the Black and Latino community. Nowhere in his proposal did Nutter suggest that corporations like Comcast, whose CEO Brian Roberts made $24 million in 2009, be made to pay more taxes to offset the city's deficit. Such entities clearly have more money to spare than the working and middle class of this city. Nowhere did Nutter suggest that perhaps the city should decrease its $1 billion budget on police, prisons, and courts, which through statistics I will introduce later on in this press conference have been proven to be a squandering of the people's resources. Nowhere has it been suggested by Nutter that the billions that the state generates off of private and public prison industry be redirected to the economic development for the communities from which most of the prisoners come in Philly. In fact, the prisons and police, or the issue of public safety, have increasingly become a tool used by Nutter's administration to avoid the real issue and basis of the city's economic crisis. The problem is not crime. The problem is that Nutter's economic policies only speak to the interests of the wealthy. The problem is that the vast majority of the people's resources are being spent on hiring of more police and building of more prisons. Our strength as a city is in our productive potential of our community. By denying the right to education and opportunity to work, Nutter's plan offers up no confidence in the people to rescue the Philadelphia's economy. Instead, he invests in locking up our men and women, and doing so, creating a culture of fear and xenophobia amongst many who would otherwise be interested in participating in the process of developing Philadelphia's economy. Nutter introduced his infamous policy of stop and frisk in the middle of his 2008 campaign for mayor. This was done as a tactic to benefit those who profit from the prison and police economy. And yes, it is an economy. To win support from Nutter's voting constituency with its own opportunistic agenda. We are referring to forces like the Fraternal Order of Police, who also endorsed District Attorney Seth Williams' campaign. The reality is that at the time Nutter announced stop and frisk, crime was at the lowest it had been in decades in Philadelphia. Further, stop and frisk has been proven to be a dismal failure from a crime-fighting standpoint. From 2005 to 2009, the number of Philadelphians stopped and frisked by police climbed from 102,319 to 253,333. That's a 148% increase. In 2010, 72% of those stopped at random by police were black people. At the same time, just 8% of those subjected to stop and frisk were found to have committed any crime at all. Nutter's plan can't work, and it won't work in a city that is primarily composed of working and poor people. Nutter's plan offers up no vision for the future of Philadelphia. At the rate we are going, the city will be empty and without any productive workforce. Recently, in a Daily News article, it was stated by a leading economist that the average black man in his 30s to 50s is expected never to work again in his lifetime. And many of them, should Nutter and his forces like him be allowed to continue their terror over the city, can expect to be imprisoned simply for being black and being poor. So why Diop Olugbala for mayor? It is clear that the people are ready for change. In the 2011 Democratic primaries, Milton Street, Nutter's primary opponent, walked away with 25% of the primary votes. He did so through a grassroots campaign that spoke to many of the issues that we intend to speak to. Even mainstream media recognized Street's influence in the election as evidence of a crisis for Nutter. However, unlike Street or Nutter, both of whom are tied to the Democratic Party, Diop Olugbala, myself, is unbought and unbossed by the ruling elite or any of its political parties. Diop Olugbala has the ability to run on a campaign that speaks to the genuine interests of the working and poor people of the city, not those with huge bank accounts who rip the people off. My commitment to my people has been tested and proven over the years. Before my work in Philadelphia, I was fighting for the interests of the black community to be heard in the electoral arena on a national level. This was done particularly through my intervention of the Barack Obama campaign. On Friday, August 1st, 2008, I led a contingent of the Uhuru movement into Barack Obama's town hall meeting in St. Petersburg, Florida, to raise the question, what about the black community, Obama? Without the benefit of a big media budget, our organization attempted to bring the serious issues experienced by black working class people across the country into national political debate. These issues include the targeting of black and Latino communities with predatory subprime mortgages, a scheme that has made millions off the people, like poor people, like Obama's chief financial advisor, Penny Pritzker, while stripping black families, many of whom live in Philadelphia, of billions of dollars. The greatest loss of wealth our community has ever suffered since being brought here in chains.
We also challenged Obama to take a stand against the police shootings, as we challenged Michael Nutter to take a stand against the police shootings of unarmed black people, and explain why he has publicly defended the judge's acquittal of the New York City Police Department who murdered Sean Bell. And these are the struggles that I've led in Philadelphia over the past several years. I continued my work here in Philadelphia as the leader of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. I led the campaign to expose Nutter's 2009 budget cut proposal as a war budget designed to resolve the city's economic crisis at the expense of the black community. In December of 2008, I organized the tribunal, or a court, to put the city officials, including Michael Nutter, Charles Ramsey, and then DA Lynn Abraham, on trial for crimes of genocide being committed against the black community. Such crimes included Nutter's economic policies, as well as the anti-constitutional stop and frisk policy carried out by the Philadelphia Police Department. At the tribunal, several family members of victims of police violence testified against the city. In January of 2009, I called for the formation of the Committee for the People's Budget, which would put forth a realistic yet just proposal as to how the city's budget funds should be allocated to meet the needs of the people. In March of 2009, I led a contingent of the Uhuru Movement activists and other community organizers in a protest at a city council meeting at City Hall against Nutter's war budget. The protesters and myself demanded that the city's public policy of police containment be immediately replaced with economic development. We demanded that Nutter not only end the budget cuts, but that it paid the black community back for decades of theft of our money and resources. In response, a gang of civil affairs police brutally attacked me and arrested me and another member of the Uhuru Movement. I was then charged with aggravated assault on the police, even though I was attacked by the police, simply for exercising my right to free speech. Over the next 17 months, the Uhuru Movement, joined by many other organizations, activists and concerned community members, waged a relentless campaign to free myself. Ultimately, a black woman, a judge named Roxanne Covington, who was clearly under the influence of City Hall and the police department, convicted me. However, because of the mass support, not only in Philly, but globally, Covington was unable to fulfill the district attorney's request to throw me in prison. Instead, the state compromised with a 2-year probation sentence, which I am now serving. In the duration of my trial and sentencing, I concluded that the city of Philadelphia is being run by a triad of criminals. As police commissioner, there is Charles Ramsey. As district attorney, there is Seth Williams. And as mayor, there is Michael Nutter. These individuals had been united by the Democratic Party and the interests of finance capital in the city of Philadelphia. This criminal triad has worked in corroboration to continue the legacy of special oppression and exploitation of the black and Latino community that the city of Philadelphia has long been known for. However, unlike their predecessors like Frank Rizzo and Lynn Abraham, these new faces cannot as easily be accused of attacking the black community simply because they are black themselves. But my trial was symbolic and exposing of the fact that while you have black leaders in government, it is not enough to just be black. One must be for the black and Latino community. One must have a program that represents the interests of our community. And in closing, I will read the platform for my campaign, if I may, sister. Thank you so much. And I read verbatim. This is our platform. This is what we as a community, as the people of Philadelphia, must recognize as the real standard for leadership and solutions for our people. Firstly, on public safety, I promise to replace the public policy of police containment with economic development. I will end stop and frisk and will establish a community control and elected police regulation board with both the power to subpoena as well as hire and fire any police who violates the rights of our people. Housing. I will fight the gentrification and the takeovers of our communities in North Philly and West Philly by corporations and entities such as Temple University. on community-led economic development. I will fight for mandatory jobs, especially for those who are released from prisons. If you want to rectify so-called crime, the solution is not to starve the population, but to provide them with the ability to eat. And so, through this campaign, we're calling for genuine economic development. I will end campaign corruption to prove that I am not, unlike my opponent, Michael Nutter, who currently has $18 million in his campaign treasury. I am not in the pocket of any more major corporation, and I will not accept any donation of more than $1,000. And I challenge my opponents to do the same. At the same time, I'm willing at any time, any place to take a drug test, and I challenge my opponents to do the same. On hunger, Philadelphia, the city with the second highest child hunger rate in the country, my commitment is to provide youth employment, particularly through a program of urban agriculture, which will be implemented in the education system to turn all of these empty lots on every block in the city into community gardens, off of which the community can eat nutritious and organically grown green produce. On education, I will fight to end the budget cuts of the school system. In fact, they say cutback, we say payback, and we want control over our own education. We are calling for a community-controlled and elected Board of Education with the power to hire and fire faculty, staff, and administration. Lastly, and most importantly, as mayor of Philadelphia, I am committed to the struggle to free all political prisoners, who, some of whom gave up the vast majority of their lives to fight for the freedom of the black community here in Philadelphia. There's no reason why Mumia Abu-Jamal should be right in death row. And although the mayor does not have the legal power to release these prisoners, I will do everything in my power to pressure the district attorney's office and every other judicial entity to do so, because it is right and it is just. And this is the campaign for Diop Olugbala for mayor. In our possession here, we have several thousand petitions, signatures, that have been signed by the people of Philadelphia. This is the voice of the people, the poor and oppressed communities of North Philly, South Philly, West Philly. This is the voice of the people. The aspirations of our people will be heard through the campaign to elect Diop Olugbala for mayor, and according to the protocol established by the Office of Elections, we are required to submit 1,845 signatures. We have well exceeded the required amount of signatures, and on this day we will submit these signatures to City Hall and officially declare that it's on. Diop for mayor.